Alleluia, Alleluia. Everybody sing Alleluia, for the Lord has risen, it is true. Everybody sing Alleluia. 30 years he walked the land. Alleluia, Alleluia. To all in need he lent his hand. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. Everybody.
In my last video on this playlist, I listed some sacrileges that are present in many or all Novus Ordo Masses. The video is linked down below. A viewer cautioned in the notes section that we should be careful about the careless use of the word sacrilege and that some of these were abuses and not sacrilege. Well, what's the difference between sacrilege and liturgical abuse? According to Kevin Orland Johnson of Catholic Answers, before Vatican II there weren't any surprises when it came to the Mass. Now in many parts of the United States you'll find priests improvising as they go along. Even archbishops issue pastoral letters directing things at odds with liturgical regulations. Well, let's look at what the Catholic Encyclopedia has to say about this. The Catholic Encyclopedia was written about 100 years ago. That was a time when liturgical abuse was not a big problem. However, they do address liturgical abuses that existed before the Council of Trent. The Encyclopedia wrote, "We hear of an abuse of the same priest saying Mass several times in the day, which medieval councils constantly forbid. Again, many pious priests did not celebrate daily. Celebration with no assistance at all, missa solitaria, has continually been forbidden, as by the Synod at Mainz. Another abuse was that the celebrant said the first part, from the introit to the preface, several times over, and then joined to all one canon, in order to satisfy the several intentions. This too was forbidden by medieval councils. The missa secca, dry mass, was a common form of devotion used for funerals or marriages in the afternoon when a real mass could not be said. It consisted of all the mass except the offertory, consecration, and communion. So liturgical abuses are things like this that are done to skirt the Church's established rubrics concerning the liturgy, and these types of things would likely be sinful on the part of the priest. But these types of things don't do anything to diminish or lessen the reverence for the Eucharist or cause any lessening of the belief of the real presence among the faithful. Liturgical abuse is different from sacrilege. The Catholic Encyclopedia says, "Sacrilege is in general the violation or injurious treatment of a sacred object." So the Mass and the Eucharist would definitely come under this heading. There are three types of sacrilege: personal sacrilege, local sacrilege, and real sacrilege. The so-called abuses of the Novus Ordo Mass are flat-out real sacrileges. The Catholic Encyclopedia says, "Real sacrilege is the irreverent treatment of sacred things as distinguished from places and persons. Indeed, deliberate and notable irreverence toward the Holy Eucharist is reputed the worst of all sacrileges." So the things that we highlighted in the last video are numbered among the worst of all sacrileges. According to the Catechism of Trent, holy things, it cannot be too often repeated, should be treated holily and with due reverence. The Catechism adds, there is in the first place the greatest propriety in manifesting such a religious reverence to the sacred mysteries as to make it appear that holy things are handled by holy men. So the best thing for all of us as Catholics is to avoid all of this and go to the Latin Mass. But what if there are no Latin Masses available in your area, and the only option is the Novus Ordo Mass? The 1917 Code of Canon Law says, "The precept of receiving communion is not satisfied by a sacrilegious communion." Please note that there is no comparable law in the Code of Canon Law of 1983. In the future, I'll be adding a playlist to address the various problems of the modern Code of Canon Law. So, what should we do if we live in an area where there is no Latin Mass? Please feel free to post your comments down below. So, let me conclude with this passage from Psalms, which seems to be on point. "But to the sinner God hath said, Why dost thou declare my justices, and take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing that thou hast hated discipline, and hast cast my words behind thee?" Well, I hope that you enjoyed this installment. We'll be back again soon with another one. But in the meantime, please check out my Facebook page, which is linked down below. Every day I post additional content that you won't find on this YouTube channel. And please, pray for the Church. And if anyone wants to take you to the Novus Ordo Mass,
just say no.